gods of BloodPsalms have come together.
Yes. Hello, and welcome to an episode of On the Record. Today I will be speaking to the amazing, the incredible, the talented, gorgeous Mbali Enhle Mlotshwa. Thank you so much for joining me.
Such a pleasure being here. I'm excited. You know, people don't know what happens to get this out there, but we've been trying to get around each other's schedules, and then it's load shedding, and then it's the internet, and then so we're here.
Finally. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. So let's get the show on the road. Let's talk about the experience of working on BloodPsalms. So tell us, what was, tell us about your overall experience being part of BloodPsalms.
So what a lot of people actually don't realize is that we shot BloodPsalms in 2019. This was at the eye of the storm with regards to COVID and lockdown and everyone getting sick, and me being one of those people. But that brought about such a different way of preparing because in essence, I think Umna's story, who's my character, she was a very soft character, and the director Jamal got me to do some ballet lessons while I was at home during lockdown, because I was on another set as well. So on my time off when I was at home, I was a ballerina, just getting that sensitive side of her in tune with me. And that quickly changed when we started shooting. I decided to make Umna delicate, but still hard, because she's still a warrior at the end of the day. So you see her delicateness, but at the same time, her hardness kind of pops out as much as she tries to hide it. And I think that those were the elements that almost made it hard to create a character in the time we were in. But it was fun. It was fun.
That sounds fun. And was this the first time you were working with Jamil? How was that? Or if it was, how was that experience?
So this was my second time working with Jamil. The very first time I worked with Jamil was 20 odd years ago. I was about 17 on a set called Chisa. And Jamil walked in, and he was this artistic director who came with a new energy and something that was unexpected. And I remember everyone thinking, how odd is this little kid? But we clicked. We clicked. I guess we were two very odd kids, and we clicked, and this happened. So when he called me for Umna, I was extremely excited. I was on board immediately, because I know how his mind works. And for me, being a part of his craziness was a great craziness for me. I wanted to be a part of this, and it's exciting to be a part of it.
Oh, that's so amazing. Okay, that's quite interesting. So your character, Umna, is brave and she's ready to shoot. We've seen it. Did you have a process of getting into character? And what were your references? Was it like Zina, the princess?
So it's so tricky. But I remember sitting down with my life coach at a point where life was a bit of a turmoil for me, and I was trying to get it in order. And she said to me, I see Wonder Woman coming out. And at that moment I went, that's who Umna is. She's sexy, she's strong, she is pretty, she's hard, but she's soft. And I took a reference of Wonder Woman, and I played it a little to make it more me, and that's how Umna came about.
Oh, that's so interesting. Did you have like all the picture references and everything just out there?
No, I didn't. I watched the movie, and I thought, let me not be a copycat actor. So I didn't complete it this time around, and I just thought, let me create her as I go. So what I do as a performer, I play very different characters, and I enjoy that I play very different characters. When people see me in characters, it's always something different and always something outside of me, but I bring a part of me. So with Umna, I put down in the center what Umna was, and Umna's story for me was, when she was a young girl, she was passionate about doing what's right? And that's something we have in common with Umna. And I thought, fine, she has this mother, Madlamini, who's hard ass. And I figure her father was the softer of the two, right? This is her story. I create these stories in my head, so so the characters, yeah. And with that, I put her father and her mother in one. I figure her and her mother don't have a great relationship. They have one common goal, but how they go about it isn't the best. And we see this in a scene where Madlamini has her almost in a chokehold, and she's like, "You know what the mission is, right?" And Umna's just like, "Yeah, mom, you know, I'm still a warrior." You're a warrior. You know, and I think she takes elements of her father, but of her mother as well. So I built that story and created Umna out of that. So she's a perfect combination of both her mother and her father. She might look like her father, but she's hard like her mother, but also delicate like her father.
Okay. And would you do anything different with the character, or are you're just happy with what you've been able to put out there?
I wish she had more. I wish she had a journey, and I think this is maybe something Jamil, hint hint, will go into in the second season. I'm always so hungry to perform, and I think I am hungry to perform because on first glance and on first introduction, people don't see a performer in me, because I have a cute face and just like it rubs off. Thank you. So when I walk into a room, people don't expect a performer, and I take my craft seriously, and I get annoyed when my craft is interrupted. So I really wanted to dive into her and to give her so much more color. I didn't give her the colors I gave her for now, and I think people will enjoy it. But I also think I'm a thirsty performer. I always want to drink. I always give me more.
And you can see that. You can see that in your craft. Like you can see that on BloodPsalms. You can see it.
Thank you. And Umna, she's sexy, but hey, that sexy side I've started using for myself as well. I borrowed from her. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Has your role in BloodPsalms impacted your career? Has there been any changes, anything new?
It definitely has impacted my career. Apart from my show reel looking hella interesting now. I think it gave me that sense of pride and that sense of I'm an African and it can be done in Africa. And here's a project coming from Africa. And here it is. I'm showing I can do this. I'm showing Africa can do this. South Africa can do this with the right budget, with the right everything. It can work. And it's just changed the way I thought of the industry and where it's going. I'm so thankful to Showmax for giving a project like this an opportunity to thrive. The marketing was amazing. I mean, we're everywhere. The billboards are absolutely everywhere. But I also think South Africans out of this project started to believe that they can do this. I see more time and period pieces being done, which is amazing. I think let's play with the imagination. Let's play with the performance. Let the performance get tested. Let's use green screens. Let the imagination of the performer, you know, be the forefront of telling the story. So this has changed so many dynamics. There's so many aspects of industry and self and performers that's changed and minds have opened, and I think it's such a beautiful thing. And I'm thankful to Yellowbone Production, excuse me, and Showmax for bringing and synergizing everything so beautifully. Watching it was unbelievable. I think a lot of us were pinching ourselves that we're a part of this project. It's absolutely out of this world.
Definitely. Look, I have to ask, and I've been dying to ask this, but is the circus troupe a circus troupe, or is it just like one of those plans to save Zazie? Was it, you know?
I think we're in episode 10, right?
Yes.
So I think we realized we've realized that circus troupe isn't really the circus troupe, right? So we are the ANC of back then. We are the time changers. Oops. And the protectors of the time. And we are protecting something so delicate and so true to who Africans were before a ship came ashore and said, this is who you will now become. And it was so beautiful telling that story as well. Circus troupe, I'm the leader. I loved that a woman was also put in a leadership position, and she's the leader of not only the troupe, but a movement that could possibly change the dynamics of the time. And the protectors of what in essence, what Africa and the essence of Africa at the time in our imaginations, but also truthfully was. And it was beautiful to also watch episode 10. Has it happened yet?
Yes, it's happened. No. Currently airing.
It's also beautiful seeing the dynamics of what happened with Ushaga when the ships came ashore, and the one ended up selling Africans. The same thing happens in this regard, and that's why the journey of the beginning of the end begins.
Definitely. Let's take it into episode 10. So we open episode 10 with you in Guadana. For those that don't know Guadana, it's known as the Mecca of witchcraft. And you can tell it was cold. How was it like shooting there in extreme temperatures?
Listen, I enjoyed every second of it. I wish I could go back over and over and over again. Like I said, we don't get the opportunity to shoot pieces like this. So even the hard times were exciting. Guadana was freezing. And as you've seen, Umna has one outfit and she doesn't care about changing it. Her boobs are up in her face. Her thighs are everywhere. Her butt is out.
Looking good.
Listen, we get it.
Umna body gold.
Like, we get it, girl. But
in the cold.
Honestly, it was freezing. It was freezing. And I think everyone that shot was, we were all, we surrounded the heat as half the time, but the excitement of the conversation of what scene are you shooting? Oh, what are you doing? So it was a constant learning of the story as well. I think I said this during the premiere, that Jamil has a way of writing that even when you're reading, you have to read it about 10 times to know where you're going. He's such genius that we always have to catch up with him. And I think in Guadana, and just shooting in that space, and the great hole, just listening to the boys saying it was raining and they were freezing and they were stabbing each other and running into, and we were like, oh, I want to do that too. Can't you write me into that scene somehow? So Guadana was one of those places. We shot in the freezing cold, but it was worth it. It works for story as well. It makes it so much more authentic. You can taste the temperature of the story.
I could feel the temperature. You just Let's go into your relationships. You've told me about your relationship with Madlamini. And now I just want to know, we've seen Umna come through, work with Madlamini for Zazi's Escape, a successful one at that. But then your friend Pierrot betrays you. And Zazi's hey. What?
And I think that's what I was talking about earlier on with Shaw's came, Shaga's brother was like, give me a mirror, I'll give you Shaga. This is exactly what happened with Piru. Piru was a part of such a movement for the time, something that hadn't been seen, but he didn't see the bigger picture. He saw a couple of coins and thought, I make more money if I sell, you know, the organization. And it's also such a real tangible story in real life constantly, especially with the economical climate of the world. Just consistently, the world has gone crazy. It just shows you that history keeps repeating itself.
My grandmother's favorite thing is dichomi. Like, that's always the caution, dichomi.
And Piru nearly chomi, but I think Umna always knew. So she never quite always told him the full-on plan. I think we see that when she's training Zazi to start using her powers.
Yeah.
And you can see the way she speaks to Peter that something's up here. She knows there's a red flag, but she almost has to keep her enemy closer. But unfortunately, our enemies sometimes get beyond, and they do things like
Always
Peter did. I
be
mean,
3 steps ahead.
always. I
3
mean,
steps
the
ahead.
story of Jesus. Hi.
Hey, okay, so here's a loaded one. The relationship with Zazi. There's a moment when Umna says to Princess Zazi in episode 9, before they get caught, that Uyingani Yenganyezi, meaning she's the star child. And episode 10, after Umna's prayer to God Heka, the ground opens and she goes into the cave. So now she's seen Zazi burn. Was that an instant answer from God Heka, or does she really think that Zazi's still alive because she's the star child? Why does Umna go into the cave?
I think she knows that Zazi has a journey that needs to be fulfilled. Mm-hmm. And she understands that the gods will fulfill that. But I think in the moment of prayer, when she's praying to Heka, it's but why make it this hard when you know it's the right way? Help me, help you, help me, help us as a nation. Don't make it this hard. So her curiosity of seeing the caves, I think something sparks that, wait a minute, she could have gotten away, but let me see for myself. I think it's the journey is beyond me. The journey, even if I die right now, I have done my part for the journey. And that's where Umna is. So when she gets into the cave and she gets clapped and knocked out, she realizes, well, there's more to this. There's more to this. And I think in her unconscious mind, she's thinking, she did get saved. Even if I'm gone right now, she has a journey to fulfill. And I think that's how passionate she is about the journey. She doesn't think of anyone else. She has no love life. She has no life. Her life is reporting to Madlamini, Madlamini reporting to her, and getting this journey fulfilled.
Just bringing in Madlamini, how was it like shooting with Madlamini?
I love my mother. I love him in person. I love her on set. I think our energies just aligned, and he's a passionate performer. And I think we click on that. I mean, we were speaking the other day, and he was actually saying thank you to me. I didn't expect it. He had an event, and he said thank you, because on set, when you got into character, I would see it, because your shoulders changed, your walks changed, and your glance changed. It's the small things that made the character noticeable. And I saw that about her as well. When he went into her, something changed, and you could feel that, there she is. And we need performers like that. It was absolutely amazing, so giving. It was like a perfect match of tennis, and no one loses the game. It was beautiful. I loved working with him.
We could tell the chemistry, you can see the chemistry between, your characters. And I think that's absolutely, commendable. I think it's amazing. Just to, last question.
How amazing the full cast.
No, definitely. I mean, look, the cast on BloodPsalms is on 1,000. South Africans.
Everyone plays their role, right?
Everyone comes, they bring it. You can't, definitely. There's no denying the talent that is on BloodPsalms. And I don't think South Africans have ever seen anything like it. Not the story, not the performances that came out of that, the transformations from, how people have transformed into their characters. I think it's absolutely amazing.
You almost don't notice people. Only after a while you're like, oh, that's who that is, which is beautiful. It's so authentic, it's so organic. There's something really, it tastes good, it's delicious. I love that.
It looks effortless. It looks almost mirrored to what would have happened, So to close, What does BloodPsalms mean to you?
BloodPsalms means the beginning of the end, the beginning of great film history, and the end of lazy filmmaking. The beginning of taking South Africa and Africa onto the international stages, and the end of an era that we were all embarrassed of with regards to the standard of film dropping, the standard of series dropping, but also the beginning of channel taking South African content seriously. Whether it be timepieces, it's just so challenging to writers, performers, everybody, directors, costume makers, wardrobe, makeup. It creates an excitement, and that's where the beginning lies. And I'm excited to see what Yellow Bone's gonna do next. And I better be next. I wanna be in it.
Oh, thank you so much for this interview. It finally happened. Finally.
Oh,
thank you so much.
Thank you, beautiful lady. It was beautiful talking to you.
Oh,
off camera and on camera.
Thank you so much. Have an amazing weekend.
You too. You too.
And I look forward to watching more of you.
Me too. I love you. Thank you.
I definitely will. Bye.